All right, we should be good. Finally. Let me see how we looking in here. Can y'all hear me? You know what to do. Let me double check and make sure we're good. We always got something going on up in here, but I think we got it figured out finally. It looks like we're all good. Welcome, y'all. Yes. All right. I think we're good. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. And welcome. We up in here looking all crispy and clean on the screen. Welcome to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the ClassE Morning Show in the afternoon. It happens. It be like that sometimes. All right. But I'm glad y'all are here. Appreciate everybody that's in the building. It's going to be a great time. We got a lot to get into. I know y'all heard, if you haven't, about what's going on with Mark Sanchez. This entire story is insane. We're going to talk about it. We've also got some updates when it comes to Karen Reed, as well as some Fannie Willis updates too. So we're going to get into it shortly. I see some ones in the chat, which means we're good. All right. I figured it out. This is my first time here. Okay. So y'all got to bear with me. But before we get into it, I have to say what's up to the people, man. Shout out to my awesome, amazing Amy is in here first thing. Showing some love, reminding y'all to like the video. Thank you, Amy. I appreciate everything that you do. Y'all make sure you show Amy some love too. She does so much to make this community and this show the great place that it is. So big shout out. Thank you to Amy. We got Les Cleaver in here. Taco Tuesday is in here a day early. We got Jay Buckmaster. The big dog Jay Money is up in this thing. Mary's in here. Good to see you. We've got Slim Life New Jersey. Two Fly is up in here. Just saying with Alicia, Tanya Johnson. Good morning. We've got Mary Trotman. We've got two Marys in here, Mary Trotman and Mary Llewellyn. Good to see y'all in here. We've also got, I want to make sure I don't miss any of the members. I always got to shout y'all out. Shout out to my guy, Floyd, the real deal Neil. We've got Mari is in here. Good to see y'all, man. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into it. So if y'all could do me a favor before we start the show. Yes, I'm starting the show with a favor. I need you all to like the video. All right. Likes are free, helps the channel continue to grow, lets the algorithm know y'all are enjoying the show, shares the video, the channel, this live stream out with more people. So if you could, please take the time to like the video. I know there's already like, what, 1,400, 1,300 of y'all that like the video already. Absolutely insane. Thank you so much to everyone that's done that so far. I appreciate y'all, and it really helps the show continue to grow. All right. Also, with that being said, if you could, please make sure that you share the video. If you're feeling extra generous, that helps us out as well. And it lets the show continue to grow, lets people know where y'all are hanging out. You can share on Instagram, on X, on Facebook, and you can even share via text to your group chat. All right. So if you've done that, I know a lot of y'all have. Thank you for doing that as well. I will also be reading super chats as we go throughout the show. Okay. So if you send in a super chat, I appreciate you because there's already some of y'all that have done that. So thank you so much for the love and support. Let me see who we got in here. We've got my guy, Floyd, the real deal Neil is re-upped on his membership. He's become a gold member. Shout out to Floyd. Appreciate you, man. Always being in here and supporting. It's good to see you back in the building. Thank you for becoming a member. Oh, man. Who is that? Easy E said today is not Taco Tuesday. This is not live. Reading is basic. Oh, you know what? I cannot bash anybody for reading. Two, I don't even know how you say that. I think it's Easy E. I don't know if you're joking or not, but there is someone in the chat. My guy, Taco Tuesday is his name, and this is live. But thank you for being here regardless. That's hilarious. If it's live, I mean, who cares or not? Anyway, shout out to Mari in here. Coming to you live with the 2-bomb, what the super chat says. In my opinion, I'm tired of Karen Reed's attitude, but I love you. Oh my gosh. Hell, shout out to Karen Reed. Hey, listen, I said from the beginning, Karen Reed, in my opinion, is not the most likable person. Let's be real. But when it comes to the court proceedings and when it comes to this channel, y'all know we like to keep it about facts over feelings here. So while I can understand that you would not be feeling Karen Reed, I'm with you on that, but we're still going to report on and talk about it. So thank you for the support. Also, my awesome, amazing, the beautiful Amy E is in here, gifting 5 memberships. If you got a membership from Amy, please make sure you say thank you. Not only do you say thank you, Make sure you check out the members only content we have here on the channel. You also get an opportunity to get instant access to all the videos we drop here on the channel. You don't have to wait until they're scheduled and uploaded. You get to see them right away. You can even comment on them before everybody else does. And I know so many of y'all do that. Amy, J Money, I appreciate y'all. Easy, he said, you did say Taco Tuesday, missed the name and the handle. It's all right. We're live. We are live, guys. All right. Let me go ahead and find this comment for Amy so I can put it back up there. I know y'all have been waiting all morning and some of the afternoon for us to get started with the show. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to get into it. This first story is absolutely insane. But before I get in here, guys, I'm using a new system for live streaming. So let me see. Y'all let me know. Is the sound good? Is the audio good? Is my mic good? Can y'all hear okay? Because I want to make sure everything's set. I tested it out a couple times, but I want to make sure we're good before we get into it. Oh, I'm glad Amy said that. Y'all also make sure you go check out Amy's channel. Not only is she insanely active here on this channel, but she's got her own YouTube channel that she runs as well. I mean, she's a part of this channel, but she has a YouTube channel where she posts some different content. I'm not going to give it away. I'm just going to tell you need to go over there, subscribe, like every single video. Make sure you comment and let Amy know what you think about the content she has over there. She's actually been doing some live streams as well, so you don't want to miss out on that. You can subscribe to her channel, and the link is in the description. And thank you to J Money for dropping it in there too. Oh, shout out to Lynette says, I'm so happy I found this channel. Oh, yes, the sound is good. All right, thank you, Lynette. Sounds good, sounds good. Let's go ahead and get into it. So if you haven't heard yet, this situation with former NFL quarterback, now turned NFL analyst, it is insane. All right. So Mark Sanchez allegedly got into it with someone on the street. We don't know why. We're going to get into what happened with Mark Sanchez. He got into it with someone. They go back and forth. Mark Sanchez gets stabbed. The guy allegedly gets stabbed. And this wasn't just some dude. Apparently, according to reports, it was a 60-something-year-old man. Wasn't worth it. I'm going to give you guys the reports. We're going to see what's being said by the news. And then in the next video, we're actually going to get into the full affidavit. And I'm going to tell y'all exactly what went down. Here we go.
Well, former NFL quarterback and Fox broadcast analyst Mark Sanchez is expected in court this week after a fight and stabbing in downtown that really made national news.
And by the way, I forgot to mention, Mark Sanchez got stabbed and then he got arrested. I shouldn't laugh. Everybody's alive, so we can laugh about this. Mark Sanchez got stabbed and then got arrested after he got stabbed. I've never heard anybody like this.
Well, former NFL quarterback and Fox broadcast analyst Mark Sanchez is expected in court this week after a fight and stabbing in downtown that really made national news, and he was arrested yesterday in the hospital.
So now we're getting a closer look about the violent encounter that happened, and Anna Chalker joins us in studio after looking into court documents and learning more about the other man's condition after this fight. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies. The 69-year-old's family tells us he is recovering and his injuries are so severe that he's having trouble talking now. And I want to warn you, the photos we're about to show you are graphic.
Okay, graphic warning, guys. These photos are insane. And I think you guys are going to be surprised that a 60-something-year-old man did this to Mark Sanchez. Here we go.
Blurred the man's face and are not identifying him at the family's request, but they say he has a deep 6-inch gash on his cheek that went into his tongue. This fight took place early Saturday morning on Washington Street downtown, and it was all caught on security cameras around the area. According to those court documents, the victim says Sanchez approached him while he was in his truck working in a loading dock in the Westin Hotel. He says Sanchez told him he couldn't be in that area. Police say the victim didn't have his hearing aids in, so he really couldn't hear Sanchez, but says he could smell alcohol on him. Court documents say Sanchez got into that man's truck, and when the man tried to grab his phone, Sanchez stopped him. Police say the victim grabbed his pepper spray and then sprayed Sanchez in the face, but Sanchez wiped it off and approached him again. That's when the victim pulled out a knife and stabbed Sanchez 2 or 3 times. Sanchez ran off to a nearby bar and was helped there before EMS arrived. He was charged with battery resulting in injury, public intoxication, an unlawful entry of a motor vehicle. Now, Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears responded to this saying, quote, "This incident should have never happened. What began as a disagreement between a 38-year-old former professional athlete and a 69-year-old man should have not escalated into violence or left anyone seriously injured." And all of these charges against Sanchez right now, they are misdemeanors. We're kind of waiting to see what will come out of this with this court hearing. But coming up, we do talk with a defense attorney who's not associated to this case on why he believes these misdemeanors could turn into felonies just with all this new evidence and those new photos that you just saw when they'll be presented in court.
And in the court documents that outline the details of what happened, have we heard from Sanchez about this?
We have not, because he's still in the hospital. So we're still kind of waiting to hear in that initial condition we heard. He was in critical condition, can't really kind of understand what he's talking about now, but that is the big thing. We still have not heard from Sanchez in any of this.
All right.
Well, we're going to hear from Mark Sanchez soon, but this entire story is insane. Now, why this happened in Indianapolis, I don't know. Why Mark Sanchez was there, I have no idea. But it's interesting to see how the laws are different in each different state and even in certain counties, because with Mark Sanchez acting this way and putting this man in that position, just because you start yelling at somebody and maybe push them, depending on the laws where you are, they might be allowed to, do what they got to do. And that seems like what happened in this case, and which is why Mark Sanchez ended up in the hospital. So let's go ahead and hear from an eyewitness that saw the whole thing go down.
Thanks, AC. For the first time, we're hearing from a man who witnessed the immediate aftermath of the fight that led to former NFL quarterback and current Fox Sports commentator Mark Sanchez being stabbed and later arrested for multiple misdemeanors. Sanchez is still recovering in the hospital. As News 8's Hernan Gutierrez reports, this comes as the Marion County prosecutor released new details this morning.
The victim in this case was a 69-year-old delivery truck driver, and he told police that he believed Mark Sanchez was, quote, trying to kill me. Investigators were able to use an interview with the driver and security camera footage from the hotel to piece together what happened. I spoke to a witness who was around to see what happened once police and first responders arrived.
Darren Laughlin captured this video early Saturday morning as police arrived at the scene of the fight. He was getting food downtown when he heard sirens.
I noticed they stopped just up the road,
man.
So I followed them up and stayed across the street to see what was going on.
According to police, Sanchez and the unnamed driver had an argument about where the truck was parked. At some point, Sanchez tried to get into the truck and even shoved the driver as the driver was trying to flag security. It escalated into a fight in which the victim pepper sprayed and later stabbed Sanchez multiple times. A short time after getting to the alley, Laughlin saw both men carried off on gurneys.
The second person, they brought him out of the alley here on the gurney, and he was setting up on the gurney and had a towel wrapped all the way around his head.
Laughlin saw the delivery truck backed into the dock and says there was enough room for a car to pass by. According to court documents, security footage shows Sanchez throwing the driver into the dumpster and nearby pallets.
At first, I just didn't want to believe that it was him.
Sanchez reportedly told police he didn't know what happened and could only remember grabbing for a window at a nearby pub. Laughlin recalls seeing someone come out of the business, not knowing it was Sanchez at the time.
You don't think you're going to see somebody, recognizable in something like this.
In a statement, Marion County Prosecutor Ryan Mears condemned the incident, adding in part what began as a disagreement between a 38-year-old former professional athlete and a 69-year-old man should not have escalated into violence or left anyone seriously injured. Laughlin says he was shocked to find out about Sanchez's arrest after what he saw that morning.
Now, hold on a second. Let's go back to this statement. This is a statement from Ryan Mears. He said, what began as a disagreement between the 38-year-old former professional athlete and a 69-year-old man should not have escalated into violence or left anyone seriously injured. Well, listen, again, if we look at the law, when we talk about stand your ground, I know stand your ground's a sensitive subject. I don't know the laws in Indianapolis, but there are many cases. If you feel threatened, you feel your life's at stake. This is a fragile 69-year-old man that's trying to do his job, and he gets harassed by this, I don't know, how tall is Mark Sanchez? Probably like 6'4", 200 and something pounds, drunk guy trying to climb in his car. I mean, if you put your hands on me, I pepper spray you, and it goes down like this, and then Mark Sanchez threw him in the dumpster. It sounds like I don't know what Mark Sanchez had going on, but this is wild.
says he was shocked to find out about Sanchez's arrest after what he saw that morning.
I didn't expect anybody like that to be involved in just a two-person altercation of like an argument, especially him.
Sanchez is facing 3 misdemeanor charges, including battery, unlawful entry of a vehicle, and public intoxication. He has a $300 bond and is set to make an initial appearance Tuesday morning. Reporting downtown, I'm Hernan Gutierrez for Wish TV and WishTV.com.
He has a $300 bond. Oh my gosh, man. Let's get into some more details. And then in the next video, y'all make sure you stick around because we're going to actually get into the full affidavit of probable cause and get some more details on what went down in this situation. But TMZ is saying Mark Sanchez stabbed in Indianapolis, hospitalized with severe injuries, and don't forget to mention he got arrested. Fox Sports has released a statement about Mark Sanchez's conditions, acknowledging he was injured, but adding he's in stable condition at the hospital. Fox Sports says, "We are deeply grateful to the medical team for their exceptional care and support. Our thoughts and prayers are with Mark Sanchez, and we ask that everyone please respect his and his family's privacy during this time." This dude getting fired. We've called firing so many times, and this is a pretty easy one, guys. You don't do this and keep a job in the public eye, especially for Disney. They don't play around. Former NFL QB Mark Sanchez was stabbed last night in Indianapolis and is currently in the hospital with critical injuries, TMZ Sport has learned. Police received a call around 12:30 a.m. Saturday morning to a street in downtown Indianapolis for 2 injured people. And one of the people was the former first-round draft pick. We're told Mark Sanchez was rushed to a local hospital in critical condition. It's unclear what led to the violent incident. We're going to get into that shortly. 38-year-old Mark Sanchez was in town for his broadcasting gig with Fox Sports. There you go, for work, and was scheduled to call Sunday's Colts and Raiders game at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Can y'all imagine, like, hey guys, I just got stabbed up by a grandpa. I can't make it into work tomorrow. They're probably like, I mean, how bad is it? No, I'm kidding. Statement of overnight stabbing. The IMPD is investigating a physical disturbance that happened near Senate Avenue at West Washington Street on October 4th, 2025, around 12:30 a.m. The incident involved 2 adult males, resulting in one man receiving lacerations and the other sustaining injuries consistent with stab wounds. Detectives believe this was an isolated incident between the 2 men and not a random act of violence. Both individuals, who were not local residents, have been identified. IMPD aggravated assault detectives are continuing the investigation and have reviewed video footage of the incident. Y'all saw the camera outside where Grandpa got tossed in the dumpster. Both men received medical treatment. The man with the apparent stab wounds remains hospitalized in stable condition. Mark Sanchez. The case will be presented to the Marion County Prosecutor's Office for a charging decision. It is the practice of the IMPD Public Affairs Office to not identify the victims or suspects in incidents unless the suspect is arrested, charged, or being sought. Mark Sanchez was arrested. The Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department released a statement Saturday morning in which they announced the incident involved 2 adult males. One suffered lacerations and the other who suffered a stab wound. IMPD says both people were unidentified, and it appears this is an isolated incident, not a random act of violence. Before exchanging his pads for the mic, Mark Sanchez, yeah, we know about his history. Y'all said butt fumble in the chat. We know who Mark Sanchez is. And being a professional, this is inexcusable. I get people are human, but it's 2025, guys. We have so many ways to avoid situations like this. And if you're a person who's going to be calling a game the next day, I mean, think about this for a second. If none of this had happened, how do y'all think this would look? Mark Sanchez the night before, he's supposed to be on camera calling a game. It's just getting wasted at a bar. And now he's saying he doesn't remember any. I mean, it's crazy. We're going to get into more of the details in the next video. Y'all make sure you stick around. Let me know what you think about this in the comments in the chat. Wow. Shout out to all 1,500 of y'all in the building. Can you please like the video? I beg for likes here. They're free. Okay. So you have every reason to like the video. It takes less than a second. It's free. And it puts a smile on my face. All right. Yo, what is Mark Sanchez doing at 12:30 a.m. and he has to call a game the next day? Amy says it qualifies for a level 5 felony. Why, man? Why? And this is just what's being reported. Y'all know stuff happens like this every day. And then shout out to who is it? Law and Order New York City, NYC said this, which I'm gonna have to verify, but I know you know your stuff. Law and Order NYC. Where did you say about him not being able to charge? I gotta go back and find it. Hold on. Where is it? Sanchez's charges can be upgraded because that man was a senior over the age of 65. And then Amy backed it up. We're not done with Mark Sanchez because we're going to get into the full affidavit and then you guys will get to hear more detail from the actual police department, what went on in this situation. So let me go ahead and get right into it, not waste any more time. Oh boy, Mark Sanchez, what is happening, dude? And he's gone. I mean, there's no way he comes back after this. So what we're going to do is we're talking about Mark Sanchez and this entire stabbing situation. The confusion with this story is through the roof. I mean, why did he stab the 69-year-old man? Or why did he get stabbed by the 69-year-old man? Excuse me. Why did he get an altercation with him? A disagreement? Why was he trying to climb into his car allegedly? Now we're going to hear from officials right there at the IMPD and see if we can figure out what's going on. I've also got the full affidavit here of probable cause. We'll go through that and give a breakdown of everything they're saying that happened.
One of the statutory aggravators is the age of the victim, and certainly that is something that the judge could consider when they're imposing a sentence.
Did investigators take a BAC level from Sanchez?
Well, anytime anyone's admitted to the hospital, there's a number of things that are conducted as just kind of a matter of routine and a matter of procedure. And I think as you work through the process, certainly the health records are protected. We have to go through that process of making sure that any information that we receive is obtained through the proper channels. And I know Chief's team's working on that.
Do we know if...
Imagine getting stabbed and arrested. It's crazy.
Sanchez's associates can piece together what his Friday night was like before this happened?
I can't answer exactly what step in the process the investigators are at, but as the prosecutor mentioned, just because charges are filed doesn't mean the case or the investigation stops. So the investigators will be looking into all those things, and I think the medical records are going to be extremely important for both individuals to help the prosecutor make an important a charging decision to see if there's some other way to another charge that needs to be added, but also to see if there was some sort of altered state of mind of the individuals involved in this incident.
Yeah, he was drunk. What?
So as you know, we're currently assigned to a misdemeanor level 6 court with the additional charges. This case will be transferred to a major felony court, and then it would be up to that major felony court to make the determination as to...
There it goes. Amy called it. She said level 5. It can be upgraded. She said, yes, Mark Sanchez qualifies for a level 5 felony. Right now, he's at a level 6 misdemeanor. Yikes.
To a major felony court, and then it would be up to that major felony court to make the determination as to whether or not a bond should be imposed regarding the new charges. Again, these new charges are supported by an amended probable cause affidavit, which goes into way more detail about what took place on that night, and also more clearly outlines the nature and extent of the victim's injuries in this case.
How does the state's self-defense law play into this and the allegations?
Well, certainly Indiana has some of the most robust self-defense laws in the nation, and that's always going to be part of the equation when you evaluate cases like this and trying to determine.
There goes your self-defense. Yep.
And it will certainly be at the center of this particular trial as well when we have conversations about were people acting reasonably or not. And in Indiana, you have no duty to retreat. So those are all things that you need to consider in terms of when you make that initial charging decision. Those facts have been evaluated, and certainly the self-defense law is going to be an issue that will be raised.
Talked about this earlier. Now, I want to key in on this where he talks about duty to retreat. Again, I don't have knowledge of Indianapolis laws, so this is something we're going to have to do some more research on. But it sounds like the man had a right to be there. He had a right to defend himself. And if he felt attacked in any way, he can defend himself. Somewhat of a stand your ground, but sounds like they're going more self-defense since Mark Sanchez was the aggressor according to them, allegedly.
When you make that initial charging decision, those facts have been evaluated, and certainly the self-defense law is going to be an issue that will be raised at trial.
Last question.
You tweeted yesterday for the first time in 3 years, criticizing the governor for his quick take for political gain. What's your reaction to that?
Well, for me, the most important thing is that we get information out there that is accurate. And anytime people jump to conclusions and don't rely on facts, that's obviously disappointing. For us, though, we have conversations about what's taking place in Marion County. When those types of things are said, it's not really an attack on me. It's an attack on 420 people who work in the prosecutor's office who are dedicated to their job. And we've won 31 out of our last 34 murder trials. We've won the last 10 murder trials in a row. And if the governor has conversations about what's going on in Marion County, not only can he look to those stats, but he has an open invitation to come to the prosecutor's office and not only meet with me, but the people who are in the courtroom every single day fighting for those convictions. We don't get those records and we don't get those results without Chief Bailey's help, without the community's help. And so if the governor thinks that he can add to that conversation, if he says, hey, there's additional things that can be done to help, we always want to have that conversation. Where I think my frustration sometimes comes from is everybody's quick to blame and point fingers. We need substantive responses that actually address the challenges that we're facing and give everybody the tools and resources.
We're talking politics here. We don't really care about this.
I feel very
Y'all get your stuff together.
Where we are in terms of our murder conviction rate. But we can't do that without Chief Bailey. We can't do that without the community. And if the governor thinks he can assist, he's got an open invitation to come.
For both Ryan and Chris, considering Indiana is a constitutional carry state, and as you pointed out, self-defense statute is very broad, how lucky are we that somebody's not dead of a gunshot wound?
Well, go ahead.
I mean, I mean, we've seen over the last several years the number of cases that have to be screened from the prosecutor's office and look through the lens of self-defense, I think, go up. And that's because a lot more people are armed and protecting, which is the right that they have. But when conflicts, which I've said repeatedly, continue to drive violence in our community, simple conflicts over things like parking spots, and the list goes on and on that we've seen over the last several years, these tragic cases that turn violent because someone has a weapon of any sort. But we're lucky that no one's dead right now as a result of this incident that involved a knife. But certainly more people have guns. And we have to be mindful of that as we start and deal with conflict in our community.
Yeah, and somebody said Indiana's rough. Got a cousin cop in the gang. Oh, my goodness. And speaking of laws, again, I'm just going to cover this quickly. I'm not an attorney, but this is the research I found if y'all want to know. So, Indiana states govern when a person is justified in using force, even deadly force. The main law is Indiana Code, if y'all want to look it up and you're in the area, 354132. Again, do your own research. Reasonable belief. All right. So what does that mean and how does it apply to this case? You must be reasonably believe that you or someone else is facing imminent or immediate unlawful force or serious harm. Now, this is interesting because here in Georgia, unlawful force is not included. That's not included in any code that I've seen when it comes to self-defense. It's either someone's going to cause you serious bodily harm or death, and then you can use a certain type of force. But I've never seen unlawful force. So if you feel like someone's going to grab up on you, they grab your arm and start yanking you around. Self-defense. Sheesh. Use of reasonable force. The force use must be proportional to the threat. If someone is using non-lethal force, responding with lethal force may not be justified. No duty to retreat. We heard this earlier. Indiana is a stand your ground state. I figured you don't have to retreat before using force if you are legally present. I mentioned this in the last video when we heard the reports on what was being charged. It sounded like it was a stand your ground law. Unlawful aggression. All right, or lawful aggression or initial aggressor's rule. If you provoke the conflict, you generally can't claim self-defense unless you clearly withdraw and the other person continues the aggression. Sounding like that's what happened here. The reason Mark Sanchez is being charged is because they have a video of him trying to climb into this guy's car, pushing him around, and then eventually throwing him into a dumpster. What are you going to do? Protection of property and vehicle or home? Mark Sanchez was hitting he was hitting. Mark Sanchez must have read this code and said, let me see how I can violate every part of this code. You may use reasonable force to defend against unlawful intrusion into your dwelling, occupied vehicle, or to protect your property, but use of deadly force or for property is only is more tightly limited. Affirmative defense, burden shifting. Self-defense is an affirmative defense. That means the defendant admits using force, but urges or argues it was justified. The prosecution must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the force was unjustified. From the stuff, from what we've heard here, 38 versus someone who's nearly 70. Bro, come on, man. Let's hear some more details that just came out.
We are learning more about the arrest of former USC and NFL quarterback Mark Sanchez.
Come on, Marky Mark.
Police say it all began as an argument between Sanchez and a 69-year-old man in a hotel alleyway.
Almost
Court
twice his
documents
age.
say the man who was working with one of the hotels was defending himself after Sanchez threw him to the ground. ABC's Ike Ajachi has more.
This morning, former NFL quarterback and current Fox Sports analyst Mark Sanchez facing a battery charge after a stabbing incident in downtown Indianapolis.
I was met with the individual stab that we had up on Washington Street. One in custody.
Investigators with the Indianapolis Police Department say Sanchez was initially hospitalized as the stabbing victim, but then later officers arrested the former quarterback for his alleged role in the incident. According to police, the incident occurred between out-of-towners in this alley and wasn't considered a random act of violence. Investigators say an argument between the two men quickly escalated just after midnight Saturday, leading to Sanchez sustaining injuries consistent with stab wounds. Police say Sanchez, who is still hospitalized, faces misdemeanor charges, including battery, unlawful entry of a motor vehicle, and public intoxication.
This is bad.
Adding all involved parties have been identified and no further suspects are being sought. Fox Sports providing an update, saying in part, our thoughts and prayers are with Mark, and we ask that everyone please respect his and his family's privacy during this time.
And that was ABC's Ike Ajachi reporting. We've also learned the 69-year-old...
Why do these celebrities ask for... I guess he's not a celebrity. Why do these public figures ask for privacy? You were in a public space assaulting a guy in public, allegedly. What do you need privacy for? No, we want to know what happened, Mark Sanchez. You were wasted at 12:30 a.m. calling a game probably 6, 7, 8 hours later. We watch you on TV. How many times have you done this? Is this the first time you were wasted and about to go on TV? Come on, man. Let's go ahead and get into the breakdown of this so y'all can see what actually went on. We've got the official statement here from Marion County, an affidavit of probable cause. Shout out to Amy for getting this and making this available. We have Detective Jason Staten, and he swears and affirms that on October 4th at 12:35 a.m., IMPD officers were dispatched to 301 West. We know we've got the address there. When officers arrived at the Low Millers Pub and Eatery located at that address, they came in contact with the male, later identified as Mark Sanchez. Oh, they exposed this man with several stab wounds to his upper right torso area. A second person was located in the alley west of the location. The second person, later identified as PT, had a laceration on his left cheek. So we don't know what happened there. Either he was hit, maybe he injured himself when he got thrown into the dumpster. Who knows? Mark Sanchez, they took Mark Sanchez to the hospital. He was in critical condition. My gosh. Critical condition is serious, guys. Responded to, and then EMS responded to the alley, and they got PT to the Methodist Hospital. An aggravated assault detective was requested to be paged through control by an officer on the scene. Detective Joshua Staten was paged at 12:45 or 12:54 a.m. Detective Staten spoke to Officer Jay Anderson and was advised where the injured parties were going and coordinated with another aggravated assault detective for responding accordingly. Detective Edwards responded to the hospital to check on Mark Sanchez, while Detective Clayton responded to the Methodist Hospital to check on PT. Detective C. Edwards responded to the hospital and attempted to get a statement from Mark Sanchez. Hopefully Mark Sanchez was sober enough to not say a dang word. Goodness. Detective Edwards asked Mr. Sanchez what happened, and all he could remember was grabbing for a window. Good job, Mark. Mark Sanchez said he did not know who did this to him or where it happened. He said he was wasted. Detective Staten responded to the scene and arrived at 1:10 a.m. Upon arrival, Detective Staten had advised that the two hotels on either side of the alley where the incident occurred had surveillance video of the event. The two hotels located on either side of the alley where the incident occurred were the West End Hotel and the Indianapolis Marriott downtown. Detective Staten went to the West End Hotel first to review the video, but the video quality was poor. If this is what took place, if what they're alleging took place, you don't need that good of a video to figure that out. As Detective Staten was walking to the Marriott to review the video footage, a male sitting in a vehicle parked in the alley just north of the incident location stated he needed to leave. Detective Staten spoke with the male, who was identified as BB. He stated that he was in the location picking up his kid when he saw a larger male wearing a black shirt and another male that was a truck driver interacting with each other. BB at first thought they were friends and didn't pay much attention to their interactions, as his vehicle was facing northbound and he was only observing through the side mirror. BB then thought it was odd because he thought the two men were using their cell phones to record each other. Jeez. BB then said the two men went to the other side of the truck out of his view. Then he noticed that the truck driver tumbled over to the opposite side curb, and the male in the black shirt, we now know allegedly was Mark Sanchez, standing over him. BB thought they might have wrestled or something. Shout out to BB. Then the male in the black shirt ran northbound in the alley and the truck driver stayed in the truck. BB did not see anything further and said he did not know what was happening, but assumed it was kind of serious because police started to show up. Detective Staten then released BB from the scene. Detective Staten relayed the information about the two parties involved, possibly recording each other based on BB's statement, and Detective Sergeant Gray then applied for and was granted a search warrant to collect Mr. Sanchez's phone and clothes from the hospital. The warrant was granted and Detective Edwards collected the items, signed the chain of custody voucher, and transported them back to the aggravated assault office, where Detective Staten later took custody and placed these items in the property room. Ooh-wee. Y'all think Mark Sanchez kept that video? Even if he didn't, they're going to be able to get a copy of his phone. Yikes. And if they were recording each other, they're going to have PT's phone as well. Why couldn't Michael Proctor do this? This seems pretty simple, right? Collect the evidence, take it to the property room. But we won't go there. That's a different case. Detective Staten then reviewed the video from the Indianapolis Marriott downtown and saw a male believed to be Mark Sanchez jogging northbound in the alley from the direction of Maryland Street. Mark Sanchez runs towards a large box truck that backed into the loading docks at the West End Hotel and goes behind the truck and then reappears, still heading north. Mark Sanchez, Mr. Sanchez, then heads to West Washington Street and is out of view for a little while. Mark Sanchez came back. This is not going to be good if this is right. He reappears heading southbound and approaches the delivery truck again and goes behind it before reappearing and approaching the driver's door. It should be noted that at this time, PT is an employee for the company that specializes in commercial cooking oil, recycling, and disposal. PT was backed into the loading dock area at the West End performing his assigned duties when he was encountered by Mr. Sanchez. Mr. Sanchez approached the driver's door of the truck, opened the door, and began a conversation with PT. What? Mark Sanchez and PT stand by the driver's side door for a few minutes, and PT walks over towards the security office doors of the Marriott. At this time, PT is out of view of the camera, and Mr. Sanchez is seen standing near the front of the truck. Moments later, PT reappears and walks towards the passenger side of the truck, and Mr. Sanchez follows him. Then PT is seen walking back around the driver's side, and Mr. Sanchez is right behind him. The two appear to have an interaction. at the driver's side door, and PT walks back towards the front of the truck. Said, man, get out of my face. Mr. Sanchez is falling again. PT is seen walking backwards away from Mr. Sanchez. PT and Mr. Sanchez are now seen moving around in the front area, in front of the truck. And then PT darts towards the driver's door again. He about to get that thing. He darts towards the driver's door again. Mr. Sanchez is seen running after PT, and the video shows Mr. Sanchez grabbing and throwing PT towards the wall of the West End. I have a feeling Mark Sanchez's defense is going to be, well, he threatened me. Especially considering if what they're saying is true. And I mean, we're going to see the video at some point if this goes to trial. PT did go back to the car, probably to collect something. We're going to find out later, right? So Mr. Sanchez is seen running after PT, and the video shows Mr. Sanchez grabbing and throwing PT towards the wall of the West End, and it appears that the two men are now fighting between the large metal green dumpster and the truck, The fight continues up against the dumpster, and then as the vehicle is driving southbound in the alley, the two men continue to fight and are now moving out towards the middle of the alley. Mr. Sanchez is seen throwing PT to the ground on the west side of the alley just as the car passes. PT stands up from the ground, and Mr. Sanchez is standing there for a brief moment before turning and running. Why was Mark Sanchez running? Detective Staten took a statement from PT on October 4th at the aggravated assault office around 8 p.m. PT's statement closely matched the video Detective Staten watched from the Marriott. Not great. PT said Mark Sanchez opened the driver's door, and PT exited the truck. Mark Sanchez and PT had a conversation where Mark Sanchez told PT that he could not be there at the loading dock and that Mark Sanchez, had spoken to the manager of the hotel. What? PT did not have his hearing aids in because the truck is very loud when he is exchanging the frying oil for the hotel, so he had to lean in close to Mr. Sanchez to hear him. When PT leaned in, he stated that Mark Sanchez smelled of alcohol and his speech was slurred. PT was confused and stated he needed to contact his manager to find out exactly what was going on. PT described Mr. Sanchez, whom he did not recognize, was well-dressed and groomed, so PT assumed he could be the manager of the hotel. Mark Sanchez then climbed up into the cab of the truck and leaned over the driver's seat and looked in towards the middle area between the seats. PT told Mark Sanchez that he was not allowed to be inside the truck, and Mr. Sanchez came down. Mr. Sanchez kept repeating that he had spoken to the manager and they did not want PT to do that, replacing the frying oil. Why would he even be involved? Mark Sanchez then tried again to get to the truck, and PT stated again that he could not let him in the truck. PT said that he knew at this time there was that he had a problem. Yeah. PT tried to get his cell phone from the truck, and Mr. Sanchez blocked him from trying to call his manager. PT then walked around the front of the truck, and Mr. Sanchez followed him but stood near the front of the truck. PT is seen walking westbound off camera to the opposite loading dock area of the Marriott. PT stated that he knew the entry point was the security office of the Marriott, so he was attempting to flag down one of the security officers to help him with Mr. Sanchez. This is not looking good for Mark. PT then walked toward the passenger side of the truck, and Mr. Sanchez walked with him. PT attempted to get into the passenger side of the truck, but was blocked by Mr. Sanchez. PT walked back around the driver's side and again attempted to get his cell phone from inside the cab of the truck, but Mr. Sanchez shoved PT back, and PT realized things had escalated. And he was now in physical danger, so he reached in his pocket and grabbed his pepper spray and sprayed Mark Sanchez in the face. Rightfully so. PT said the pepper spray appeared to have no effect on Mr. Sanchez for a moment, but Mark Sanchez wiped his face and again advanced towards PT. PT thought, this guy is trying to kill me, so he pulled his knife, and when Mr. Sanchez came at him, PT went at Mr. Sanchez and struck him 2 or 3 times with the knife. PT said he found himself flying back into the dumpster and falling into the pallets on the ground. While he was on the ground, PT was not aware of what Mr. Sanchez was physically doing to him, whether he was punching him or otherwise striking him. While PT was on the ground, he could only see the feet of Mr. Sanchez coming at him, making PT realize he was in a life or death situation. Somehow PT made it to his feet, and when Mr. Sanchez came at PT, he stabbed Mark Sanchez the last time. The next thing PT knew, Mark Sanchez looked at him with a look of shock. He slowly turned around and Mark Sanchez took off northbound in the alley. Officer Mark Myers, an evidence technician, processed the scene, taking photos and collecting evidence, which was taken in the property room. Search warrant was applied for the box truck by Detective Sergeant Gray and granted under number, y'all can read it there, for the collection of the knife that was located on the driver's seat. Mark Sanchez was placed under arrest for battery, unlawful entry of a motor vehicle, and public intoxication. Excellent report. What do y'all think about this? Man, what is going on here? Why was Mark Sanchez harassing this guy? Allegedly. I want to know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. It's insane. Shout out to Amy for dropping the super sticker in here, showing some love with the cake, reminding me that it's cake time all the time. Shout out to Amy. She always bringing the cake. That would be amazing right now, actually. I will take it. This has to be one of the craziest stories I've heard all year. Whoever knew a probable cause affidavit would be this entertaining, right? Jeez. Mark messed up. He's done. His career's over. I mean, I think this was the last straw. You don't get wasted and attack an old man. He should see a neurologist as well. I'm not making excuses for him. Screw his privacy and pay that old dude he violated. Yeah, I would say that, but it seemed like, according to this report and according to the videos that detectives saw, it seemed like Mark approached this man several times and he had more than enough opportunity to de-escalate or leave or just involve a third party. So with that being said, all of this is alleged. We'll have to see the evidence. I think the police report or this initial affidavit of probable cause is something, but it's not everything because there's always three sides to the story. Side one, side two, and the truth. So we'll have to see what happens. Sanchez will think about what he did while being drunk. I don't feel sorry for him. Why was he out there harassing this guy? I don't know. Shout out to Caitlin, says, sorry, I joined late and I'm lost on the story. Just rewind a little bit and I'll clip it and I'll actually post it on the channel for you. It's crazy. He can hang out with Proctor. I don't think he will lose his job. Oh, y'all want to make a bet? I got to stop. I had to stop making bets after the last guy said I lost the bet when I didn't. But I will bet you that he's done. He's arrested. And it's alleged that he assaulted a 70-year-old man. Again, guys, think about it. Let's just think about it from just a simple logical aspect. He won't lose his job. Guys, let me ask you a question. Just picture for a minute that you're the owner or you're the CEO of a small company. Right. And part of your company is public facing. You have public figures who are well known, people who are on TV, and they're working for you. Someone comes to your office and they say, hey, one of the people that works for you, there's some stuff in the news. It's a pretty big deal. You might want to read it. They say, okay, let's see what's going on. So they see what's going on. They call PR and they say, hey, PR, can you guys put out a statement for us? Sure. And then they sit here and they read this affidavit for probable cause. And then at the end, they read that Mark Sanchez was placed under arrest, or the person was placed under arrest for battery, unlawful entry of a motor vehicle, and public intoxication. If you are the CEO of this company, even if this is false, is this someone you would want working for your company? Is this someone you would want representing your company? Is this someone you would want as a public facing figure? So when every time people are going to see this guy, they're going to think about him throwing PT, this 70-year-old man, in the dumpster. It's not that complicated, guys. There's no way that Mark Sanchez keeps his job after this. Hey, if he does, shout out to him and congratulations to him for just getting that much grace. But come on, man. Just think about it. What would you do? I would not want this person working for me. I'd say, hey, buddy, you know, I hope you get the help that you need. I'm sorry that this happened. You know, we're going to support you in every way that we can, but you're not going to be calling games for the rest of the season. Yeah. And we'll have you on administrative leave. Maybe we'll bring you back when things cool down. Said the same thing to Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp settled. Disney got him up out of there. So no, Mark Sanchez, this is it. And if it were my company, I'd tell him goodbye. Like, listen, man, I get stuff happens, but you ain't doing that here. It's not that complicated. Either way, thank y'all for the support, man. We got 1,500 of you amazing folks in here, and nearly all of you have liked the video. Thank y'all, man. I don't ask for much. I really don't. But liking the video, that right there, I appreciate it so much. So thank y'all. And it's time. It's time for one of my favorite topics on this show. Yep, so that's right. We're going to talk about Fani Willis. I gotta stop smiling so much when we talk about Fani Willis taking L's. They're gonna come find me. Either way, we'll get into that in a second. In my experience, police reports are typically lacking, not by fault of the officers, but just by nature. Yeah, and I think, excuse me. I think in this case, I usually don't give a lot of weight to affidavits for probable cause, especially because, let's keep it real, police have a job to do. And I say this all the time on this channel. But with that being said, if there's a video, then they saw the video, there's really no reason for the detective to lie at this point. If anything, you think he would give the benefit of the doubt to Mark Sanchez. I mean, especially this guy's in the hospital, stabbed up and in critical condition. If there's a video, they saw the video, PT was interviewed, and he backed up the story of what they saw in the video. Ain't great. The senior citizen aspect alone really cooks him. Yeah, you putting your hands on a 70-year-old? Come on, man. Oh, my goodness. A normal person would, but he probably has big time lawyers who will find a reason to get him off with an apology. You know, not in his right mind, etc. That won't make a difference. You want someone who's not in their right mind representing. Come on, guys. It's about, they have a whole entire PR department for a reason. I mean, this thing is out there. So, no. It's over for Marky Mark. And, you know, that's okay. It happens sometimes. So either way, let's go ahead and get into this next topic. So you guys know I love reporting on what's going on here, not only in Fulton County, but specifically with the district attorney here in Fulton County, Fani Willis. Now, y'all gonna call me a hater. Some of you call me a hater. It's fine. I just call it accountability. And we've covered every step of the process of Fani Willis going through and being kicked off this Trump election interference case. Whatever, if you want to call it that. I want to call it something else. We won't get too political here. But as you guys know, as we've reported here, Fani Willis got kicked off the case. She went and tried to go to the Court of Appeals. The Court of Appeals said, Fani, really? We've been through this multiple times. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, you said, I want to stay on the case. Judge told you no. Step 2, you were asked to be kicked off the case and you weren't. Step 3, you appealed the decision. And now we're back here. We're not even going to hear your appeal. No, you're not getting on the case. So it seems like Fani Willis may have accepted defeat at this point, because now she's going to be called to testify about her involvement in this entire election interference case. And we're hearing that things are being reassigned, and this case could possibly be reassigned, but there's a very short deadline. And as I predicted, and as I said before on this channel, this case is most likely going to go nowhere and is going to die right where it sits. Check this out from Fox 5 News right here in Atlanta.
Fox 5 News at 6 starts.
Gotta do better, Fani.
Right now.
Now at 6, a 20-year-old inmate at the Fulton County Jail fights for her life as the family of the woman charged with attacking her speaks out.
Terrible.
Why they claim mental health.
There's a lot going on here in Fulton County. Let me skip ahead.
But
got
we
some
begin
breaking
with
news.
breaking news in the ongoing saga over the Fulton County election interference investigation. A judge has issued a deadline or he will dismiss the case. Good evening, I'm Courtney Bryant.
And I'm Russ Spencer. This afternoon, Fulton County Superior Court Judge Scott McAfee gave the state prosecuting attorneys council 14 days to appoint a new prosecutor in the case, or else that case will be dismissed.
Guys, 14 days. This is getting dismissed. I will be shocked if another prosecutor picks up this case. With everything that's going right now, y'all see how James Comey, the former director of the freaking FBI, is being indicted by the, well, we won't say by the president, by the Department of Justice. And you think for 1 second that an attorney's going to want to pick this up? Fani Willis has already been the example, Exhibit A. If you pick up a case against a former, at the time, former president running for president, and now you're going to pick up a case against a seated president, the 47th president of the United States, what are we doing here? I mean, the judge was just being nice by, shout out to McAfee, by granting the 14 days. Come on, man.
McAfee's order comes after courts removed Fulton County DA Fani Willis from the case. Last month, the state Supreme Court upheld her removal over the appearance of impropriety related to her romantic relationship with special prosecutor Nathan Wade, whom she hired. Even though Wade left the case last year, the courts ruled that DA Willis should no longer prosecute this case.
The judge's order follows a surprise announcement from the state capitol today. A state Senate committee that has questioned the actions of Willis in the 2020 election interference case dropped another bombshell.
At the end of a 90-minute public hearing, the committee chairman announced that Willis has apparently given up her legal fight and will testify before the committee next month.
Fox 5's Deidre Dukes is at the state capitol with the details. A lot of new developments tonight, Deidre.
A lot of new developments, that announcement coming during a 90-minute session this morning, that hearing underway at the state capitol. And as it wound to a close, we did learn that attorneys have been negotiating behind the scenes, apparently, with the committee chairman announcing that DA Fani Willis has agreed to appear before the panel and answer their questions next month.
Hell, this is going to be good.
We need her
I hope we get to see it.
We need her to tell us what does she think is appropriate behavior by a prosecutor. So that we can...
Shout out to this man. He has been trying to get Fani Willis to appear before a Senate committee for the past year plus, it feels like, and it hasn't happened. Fani Willis was subpoenaed to show up to the last Senate committee hearing they had, and she didn't show up. He's like, I mean, you guys can sanction me if you want to. What is it, $1,000? I got that in my pillowcase. I got that in the mattress. Hey, yo. They have been trying to get her to show up, and now maybe she'll finally do it. We'll be here to talk about it, too.
Can build it into the law.
Senator Bill Cowser chairs the Senate
Shout out to
committee
Bill.
investigating Fulton County DA Fani Willis's alleged misconduct in connection with the Georgia elections
Bill
interference
is not afraid
case.
of Fani Willis.
After months of back and forth and legal challenges, the committee announced during Friday's hearing that Willis is scheduled to appear before them on November 13th. Attorneys are still working out the terms.
She has agreed to testify in front of our committee to honor our subpoena, and she wants to limit the scope of the questions. I'm negotiating that with her attorney now.
Nah, come on,
Willis came
Bill.
under fire after she was accused by one of the defendants in the elections interference case of having an inappropriate relationship with former special prosecutor Nathan Wade.
She did.
And having financially benefited from that relationship. Both Wade and Willis denied the accusations, but following multiple hearings and appeals, Wade stepped down. In September, the state Supreme Court held up a lower court ruling disqualifying DA Willis from the case.
I keep repeating, we're not on some witch hunt against Fani Willis here. You know, that's been left up to the judicial system, and essentially the courts have removed her from prosecution for a variety of reasons.
The Senate committee
it's
doesn't
Fani
have
Willis
the power
versus
to
the world.
prosecute Willis or remove her from office, but can make recommendations as to whether new laws or ethical guidelines are needed for DAs in Georgia.
I think that's a good thing. She's been the center of attention so much, so it'll be good for her to actually come and give her side, so to speak.
Please.
Now,
Give
we
me a
did
break.
reach out to Attorney Willis's attorney for comment this afternoon, and we haven't yet heard back. We're still waiting to hear their response as to this latest news that dropped this morning. Reporting at the state capitol, Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
And shout out to Ms. Dukes. We're going to hear more from Fani Willis. I'm excited for this. Ooh. Bill, we're counting on you, Bill. I know you just said that you can't remove Fani from office. I know you said you can make recommendations. We don't care about that. I think many of us who were team Courtney Kramer have accepted our fate and that we're going to be stuck with Fani for a while. All right? Just stand 10 tones down, my guy. Come on, Bill. Just hold her accountable. Don't negotiate too hard on these questions. She's supposed to show up before. She needs to show up now. She already agreed to testify. We have questions we want answered. All right, it's not that difficult. But you guys think it started and stopped with Fani Willis. You're wrong, because something took place in Detroit, Michigan, to where there was more involvement and more issues with this entire election interference case. And we'll get back to Fani Willis in a second. Check this out.
But first at 5, it's a story we first brought you breaking today at noon. A judge ruling a group of 16 people accused of trying to falsely certify President Trump as the winner of the 2020 election will not face trial. We appreciate you joining us. I'm Glenda Lewis.
And I'm Simon Shaquette. Judge Kristen D. Simmons finding no intent to commit fraud in their actions after several years of back and forth.
The 15 defendants, including a few high-profile members of the Michigan Republican Party, were each charged 2 years ago with 8 counts of forgery and conspiracy to commit election fraud.
7 News Detroit reporter Whitney Burney joining us in studio live with reaction from both sides and what lies ahead. Whitney.
Well, Simon and Glenn, today's ruling a major blow to Michigan's Attorney General Dana Nessel and other prosecutors, as similar cases in 4 other states have been hit with similar setbacks. While Nessel believes the evidence here was clear, those accused are celebrating a victory on what they say was retaliation.
The evidence was clear. They lied, they knew they lied, and they tried to steal the votes of millions of Michiganders.
Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel says this all started in December of 2020 when 16 people walked into a room with a mission to sign and mail a document to the U.S. Senate falsely claiming to be duly elected and qualified electors for the state of Michigan and that Donald Trump was the rightful winner of the presidential election.
We are talking about 16 people who conspired to nullify the votes of the other 2,649,851 voters who happened to disagree with them.
After 2.5 years of litigation, Judge Kristen D. Simmons declaring Tuesday morning the accused men and women would not face charges in the case, finding no intent to commit fraud.
There was no criminal intent. There was absolutely nothing proven in any way that we were at fault of any of the things that we were charged with, horrible things that we were charged with. I was looking at 84 years in prison, and it's taken us 2.5 years to fight this.
Michonne Maddock, one of the 16 defendants in this case. What do you want people to know about what you guys were attempting to do during that time when it came to the election?
You know, it's really easy, and Judge Simmons brought it up. We went Facebook Live and said that we were never meant to replace the electors that were in the Capitol, that what we were doing was signing a document to go alongside in case it was needed. And if the election in 2020 had been revealed to have been stolen, like I know that it was, then the paperwork that we did would have been necessary.
Maddox says she believes she and the other electors were only targeted because of their loyalty to President Trump, and still believes to this day the election was stolen despite no evidence of widespread fraud ever being uncovered.
As prosecutors, we have a moral and ethical obligation to bring charges when there is evidence of a crime. And despite today's very wrong decision, the evidence is clear and overwhelming.
Is it though? No. All right, so let's get back into Fani Willis. So what's going to happen to Fani Willis here? We've got this article again from Fox 5 Atlanta. Fulton County DA Fani Willis agrees to testify before a Georgia Senate panel, and I cannot wait. Man, please, Bill, we got to watch this, and I'll find out when it is. I know they're saying in November 11th. Now we're saying November 13th. We'll get a for sure date, and y'all know we are going to report on it here. All right, Fani Willis set to testify before a Georgia Senate committee on November 13th, possibly. The panel has been probing her Trump election interference case. The committee can't prosecute Willis, but may recommend new DA guidelines. It's not going to do anything, but whatever. Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has agreed to testify before a Georgia Senate committee, a special Georgia Senate committee, investigating her handling of the election interference case against President Donald Trump. The committee leaders said Willis will appear at the state capitol on November 13th at 10 a.m. after a few months of legal wrangling between her office and the panel over a subpoena, which she didn't show up the first time she was supposed to. The committee, formed in 2024, has been reviewing allegations tied to Willis's prosecution of Donald Trump and co-defendants accusing him of trying to overturn Georgia's 2020 election results. The committee is chaired by Republican Senator Bill ClassE, who is running for state attorney general, Senator Greg Dolezal, I always mess up his name, who is a Republican, and the committee's vice chair announced earlier this week that he is running for lieutenant governor. All right. So Senator Bill, he says that Willis's testimony is needed to better understand the process. We need her input. We need her to tell us, does she think it is appropriate behavior by prosecutors so we can build it into the law? Good luck with that. And I have a feeling a lot of this is going to be used by the Department of Justice. Again, I'm not an attorney, not sure how that would work, but this is building up to something, guys. If you think President Donald Trump was just going to let Fannie go, not make a big deal of it, I don't see that happening. Bill, who chairs the Senate committee investigating Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis' alleged misconduct in connection with the Georgia elections interference case. Bill says that she has agreed to testify in front of our committee to honor our subpoena, and she wants to limit the scope of the questions. Of course she does. I'm negotiating with her attorney now. As we heard, Bill, don't do it. Come on, man. 10 toes down. Counselor asks, I keep repeating, we're not on some witch hunt against Fannie Willis here. You know, that's been left up to the judicial system. And essentially, the courts have removed her from the prosecution for a variety of reasons. And we could name them all. I won't double down here. State Representative Harold Jones II said, I think it's a good thing, as we heard. If you say so. The Fulton County case brought by District Attorney Fannie Willis alleges that President Trump and 18 of his allies conspired to overturn Georgia's certified 2020 election results through a coordinated criminal enterprise. It sounds like a RICO against Fannie. Oh my goodness. What do y'all think about this? Let me know what you think in the comments and in the chat. We're going to be here and we're going to report and cover that Senate committee hearing. And it's going to be interesting to see, especially if Fannie shows up. I have a feeling now that we hear that Bill ClassE is negotiating with Fannie, it might not be as crazy as we want it to be. But I think the questions will be pointed because there are some changes that need to be made. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and in the chat. Thank you again to everyone that's in here. 1,500 of y'all have liked the video so far. Amazing. We're just being targeted because we support a psychotic bigot. It's so unfair. You talking about Fannie? That's what Fannie is. This isn't a witch hunt. Stop saying that you're making us feel racist. I'm grateful charges are being dropped, but I want justice on false accusations or false accusers. I'm shocked there's not more evidence. No, because there's nothing there. There's no there. Will several of them have already pled guilty? Yeah. I just want to get out of jail. Probably. Yeah, this is crazy. No, it's going to get even crazier. This is just the beginning. I guarantee this is just the beginning. Just wait for it. Let me see here. We've got, where did I see it? Oh, Fannie don't want to play with the DOJ. She's already dealing with the DOJ and what's going on with Rice Street. Her and Sheriff Labatt. It's called Fannie's Law, pun intended. Oh, man. All right. I know y'all want to hear about Karen Read. So let's go ahead and get into what's going on with this Karen Read dismissal. Because I held y'all up this whole time and we're just getting to Karen Read. So let me change the headline and we'll see what's going on with Karen Read getting a partial win in court. All right. So let me get that. Boom. So we've been covering what's been going on with Karen Read in the civil lawsuit. As many of you know, Karen Read, she has a civil lawsuit that she is now fighting after she's faced this long, years long battle of fighting criminal charges. The O'Keefe family and, of course, some of the younger kids that were being taken care of by John O'Keefe are suing Karen Read and two of the bars that we heard their names mentioned during the criminal trial. Now, with that being said, Karen Read looked at some of the charges, her team looked at some of the charges, and they requested that some of the charges be dismissed. So we're going to get into and try and figure out what's going on with these charges, what was actually dismissed, and hear the judge's decision on this, because the judge actually grants Karen Reed a partial win, and some of the charges that are remaining, they may be pretty easy for Karen Reed to fight moving forward. Here we go.
Karen Reed case, where Reed's team has filed a motion to dismiss part of the civil wrongful death lawsuit against her. John O'Keefe's family is suing her and a number of Canton restaurants, claiming they played a part in the Boston police officer's death more than 3 years ago. According to court documents, Reed's lawyers argue the O'Keefes are not providing specific facts when it comes to their emotional distress claims, which they believe is grounds for dismissal. Earlier this summer, Reed was acquitted by a jury on the most serious criminal charges against her, only convicting her of OUI.
All right, so let's go on to read this article about what's going on with Karen Reed, and I'm actually going to get into the full memorandum so you guys can see what the judge said about the partial dismissals here. All right, Karen Reed's Canton bars seek partial dismissal of the O'Keefe wrongful death suit, and here's why. Check this out. Karen Reed's legal team is asking the judge to throw out part of the civil wrongful death suit filed by the family of late Boston police officer John O'Keefe, who died in January of 2022. The suit also names two Canton bars, or bars, we got to say it the right way here, which the family claims overserved her before the night John O'Keefe was fatally found fatally injured outside a Canton home owned at the time by another Boston police officer who was John O'Keefe's friend. We know their names. We don't mention them here. Prosecutors had alleged in the criminal case that Reed, who was dating John O'Keefe, struck him with an SUV while dropping him off at the home and left him in the snow. Reed's defense argued he died after a fight in the house, suggested his injuries came from being beaten and possibly attacked by a dog. We're going to get to see all of that in this civil trial. And AJ mentioned it before. If y'all didn't check out the interview he did with Billy Bush, one of the best interviews I've ever seen, and we covered it here on the channel. Go make sure y'all check that out. The civil suit was filed in August of 2024 after a mistrial in Reed's first criminal case. Her second trial ended in June 19th. Y'all know we covered it here. When a jury acquitted her of second-degree murder and manslaughter, convicted her only of driving under the influence. According to the court documents, the O'Keefe family claims both businesses negligently served alcohol to an intoxicated person, namely defendant Reed. Do y'all agree with that? I mean, we might have to agree with that one. In Superior Court filings submitted on August 12th, Reed's attorneys argued that the family hasn't provided enough factual detail to support their claims of emotional distress. This is the one that I think Karen Reed will probably lose, which they say is the reason to dismiss those counts for the not meeting the legal standard. One of the businesses, Waterfall Bar and Grill, filed a response backing Reed's motion, while the other, CF McCarthy's, formally joined in with its own request for dismissal, the court records show. The case docket showed that the O'Keefe families opposed the move in court memorandum, and Reed's attorneys replied, focusing on 4 disputed counts and requesting a hearing on the motions. We saw part of the hearing a couple weeks ago. On October 2024, her lawyers asked the court to pause the entire case until a criminal trial was over. Obviously, they did, saying that moving ahead with discovery could hurt her defense. The judge agreed in part, halting discovery from Karen Reed, including her deposition, until after her retrial, but allowed the case to continue against the two businesses. So now we have here the judge gave a response, and he actually agreed to throw out part of the civil lawsuit against Karen Reed. We're going to hear from News 7, and then I'll actually get into the full document for you guys. Check this out.
Throwing out part of a civil lawsuit against Karen Reed today. Reed is facing a wrongful death suit. The judge dismissing one of those claims involving negligent infliction of emotional distress. All the other claims will move forward. Reed was back in court last month to try to get some of those counts dismissed. Reed's boyfriend, John O'Keefe, was found dead in that snow in front of a Canton home back in 2022. Reed was accused of killing the 46-year-old by hitting him with her car. Her second high-profile trial ended in June with Reed acquitted on all murder and manslaughter charges. The civil suit against her was filed in August of last year.
All right, so with that being said, let's actually get into the document and see what the judge had to say. Here we go. Memorandum and order on defendant's partial motion to dismiss pursuant to Mass R. Civ. Y'all can read all of that. I'm not going to say. All right. This matter arises out of the January 29, 2022 death of John Joseph O'Keefe Jr. They're calling him JJ in the civil trial. Defendant and moving party Karen Reed was previously charged with several crimes in connection to JJ's death. During the pendency of Karen Reed's criminal case, plaintiffs Margaret O'Keefe, JJ's mother, John O'Keefe II, John O'Keefe's father, and Paul O'Keefe, John O'Keefe's brother and personal representative of JJ's estate, and Kaylee Furbush, right? That is JJ's niece, or John O'Keefe's niece, the one who was saying there's emotional distress inflicted by Karen Reed in this case. They filed a civil lawsuit asserting claims against Reed for wrongful death on counts 3, negligent and or reckless infliction of emotional distress, and negligent, reckless, or intentional infliction of emotional distress. Now, moving forward, these two are going to be very important, and I talked about this. I think the negligent or reckless infliction of emotional distress counts 10, 11, and 12. Those are the ones that I thought would probably stay. This negligent or reckless and or intentional infliction of emotional distress, that's going to be hard to prove because, I mean, did she really intend to cause that? I think that's going to be tough to prove. All right. The plaintiffs also asserted claims of 4 wrongful death, counts 1 and 2, and negligent infliction of emotional distress. Excuse me. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and 9 against C&C Hospitality. Interesting. Individually and individually and as personal representatives of the estate of John O'Keefe. We're reading the footnotes here. John O'Keefe II, Margaret O'Keefe, and Margaret O'Keefe as the grandparent or guardian of Kaylee Furbush. And then G&H Hospitality, LLC, the McCarthy's Waterfall Bar and Grill, LTD, and Karen Reed. And for the purposes of clarity, consistent with the complaint, the court refers to the decedent by the nickname provided for the plaintiffs, which we're going to call him JJ. All right, now they're saying the plaintiff who asserts claims of wrongful death by a snowplow. Moreover, Reed made these statements upon waking Kaylee at 4:30 a.m., which plausibly contributed to discerning nature of that interaction. Even if this court were to accept Reed's position that she was merely engaging in telephone conversations, conduct otherwise reasonable may become tortious when directed at an individual known to be particularly susceptible to infliction of emotional distress. Boyle v. Wenck. At the time of this interaction, it can be inferred that Reed knew Kaylee was a vulnerable minor who previously lost both parents and lived with JJ as her surrogate parent. I've been telling y'all this. This is going to be, in my opinion, nearly impossible for Karen Reed to beat. If y'all want to check the receipts, check the receipts. I've been saying this since we heard about the civil case. Since the first day we reported on this, I said Karen Reed's, this is going to be a tough one for her to beat in Kaylee's instance. She was very intentional, drunk or not thinking clearly or not. She called Kaylee, she woke her up, and the emotional distress was inflicted, allegedly. At the time of this interaction, it can be inferred that Reed knew Kaylee was a vulnerable minor who previously lost both parents and lived with JJ as her surrogate parent. Given such status, Kaylee would be particularly vulnerable to distress caused by an additional loss of a parental figure. Thus, based upon Kaylee's vulnerability and susceptibility, Reed at minimum knew or should have known, I said this before, that her conduct would cause Kaylee to suffer emotional distress. This plausibly supports a claim for intentional infliction of emotional distress. It seems like the judge said, hey, thank you, poetic justice. Tortious means wrongful. The judge is saying here, this plausibly supports a claim for intentional infliction of emotional distress. He said, Karen Reed, good luck. You're an adult. You shouldn't have been calling a child screaming, drunk, freaking out about their parent, their surrogate parent possibly being dead. Again, I've said this numerous amount of times, and I 1000% agree with the judge. And we're going to hear testimony. We're going to see what happened there, but I just don't see Karen Reed beating this part. Therefore, the defendant's motion to dismiss are denied. As to their agreements regarding the sufficiency of Kaylee's claims. All right. So the judge says the order, wherefore the defendant's motions are allowed as to the negligent infliction of emotional distress claim asserted by Kaylee, and denied as to the other claims for reckless and or intentional infliction of emotional distress. The defendant's motions are denied in all other respects. And then we've got Judge Daniel J. O'Shea. Karen Reed should have knew better. She should have never done that. Also, we have a new update. This is somewhat breaking news this morning. Shout out to Massachusetts Live. I always say that name wrong. Karen Reed will have to face the O'Keefe family lawsuit on emotional distress. The judge rules. We just read this. Plymouth Superior Court judge largely denied a motion brought by Karen Reed to dismiss some of the claims against her in the wrongful death lawsuit brought by the family of her boyfriend, John O'Keefe, a Boston police officer. Reed in 2 Canton bars where she and John O'Keefe drank that night of his death had sought to dismiss parts of the lawsuit. And as we know before, they are not getting dismissed. All right. So let me know what y'all think about this in the comments and in the chat. When it comes to Karen Reed facing this emotional distress part, do you think she's going to win this? Do you think she's going to lose it? For me personally, when it comes to the wrongful death, although this is a civil case, she's not going to have an issue fighting that. I think the Commonwealth state, or not in Commonwealth in this case, but the O'Keefe's family claims in this case, when it comes to wrongful death, specifically against Karen Reed, I don't think they're going to be able to win this because they were drinking together. John was drinking, she was drinking, and he didn't. It hasn't been proven, and they're not able to prove that he died as a result of that, right? So that's going to be a difficult battle for them. Karen Reed, when it comes to the emotional distress part, I think she needs to go ahead and let that one go. Let me know what y'all think in the comments in the chat. You said this lawsuit is tortious. Oh man, shout out to the gang. He was dead though. I don't understand how the facts and how it make you liable for a lawsuit. That's the thing. They're saying that Karen Reed caused his death. They're gonna have to try and prove that, and it's not beyond a reasonable doubt because this isn't a criminal case. But the evidence doesn't show that at all. And not only that, but Karen Reed's defense is actually going to be able to show, hey guys, this is what we really think. This is what we really think happened. You be the judge. It's just not reasonable that Karen Reed caused John O'Keefe's death. So the wrongful death, yeah, I'm not buying it. All right, guys, we're going to get up out of here until tomorrow. Thank you to all 1,500 of you that liked the video. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for the love and support. Thank you to everyone that dropped the super chat over there. Shout out to Floyd, the real deal, Neil, Mari, Amy, of course, the awesome, amazing Amy over there supporting as always. We are going to be live tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. So if you guys want to check out some of the music from the independent artists here in the community, make sure you stop by Song of the Night Live tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be a great time. If you haven't yet, like the video on your way out, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And as always, you know what to do. Keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace. Appreciate y'all.